It's time for some fighting game journalism. So right now there's a closed beta test in Japan that has Akuma as a playable character. But this also means it's on a newer build, so many new balance changes are going to be present. And of course, a lot of players are just going to ignore Akuma and try to figure out what's going on with the established characters for Season 2. Since this was a closed event, there was no pictures or videos allowed, so all we have to go on is word of mouth, which can only be trusted with a grain of salt at best. I doubt they had access to any real training mode either, so the testing methods would not be as sound as something you would do in the home version. So let's take a look at the snapshot of what Season 2 could be. I will most likely do a follow-up video with new information, so let's go over to universal changes. The big one at the moment is with drive reversal getting a rework. On block, it will now be -6. Right now it's -8 on block, meaning characters like Cammy can get a punish counter standing heavy punch. With it being -6, the punish is much less severe. This is especially noticeable for characters like Marissa who use back heavy punch punish counter routes. Here you can see the damage is significantly less in comparison to what Cammy loses. This also means that drive reversaling a burnt out opponent makes you safe on block since it'll be -2. They also added it as a universal wake up option. By pressing forward plus heavy punch and heavy kick, this will come out on wake up. This is huge for characters that do not have an OD reversal and gives them another option against oppressive offense like the dreaded throw loop. Some meta implications are that a lot of the times, people would purposely go into burnout by extending their combos because they knew they could push you into the corner and go for a throw loop mix-up to finish you off. Now this won't be as potent since they'll have to respect your drive reversal on wake up. Also keep in mind with drive reversal's pushback on block, you are not within throw range, so the strike throw guaranteed mix is less oppressive since they'll need a micro walk. One thing to remember is that drive reversal has a very slow startup. You can meaty with lights and some mediums and recover in time to punish, but by doing this, you leave yourself open to perfect parry, creating another layer of mind games for both opponents to navigate. Also, when burnt out, you may have to go for hard baits, which sounds pretty hype in my opinion. Back throw now leaves you further away from your opponent. This takes away the chance of throw looping after a back throw. Oftentimes, the momentum of a match could completely change due to the wake up perfect parry into a back throw, making attacks on a cornered opponent a potential high risk. Now, before I go into individual character changes, just remember, don't mold. Your character might get shot, but it's usually not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. Also, I got these changes for Street Fighter Reddit, I'll leave a link below. Let's start with A.K.I. Light Serpent Lash now has less knockback on Toxic Trigger. I assume this is to help her mount an offense easier since it currently knocks them so far away. On Punish Counter, she puts them into a crumble stun. This sounds very similar to Ed's Flicker on Punish Counter, so I can assume she gets a raw drive rush combo extension as well. A.K.I.'s Crouching Meeting Kick has gone from +4 to +5 on hit. This lets her link into her far-reaching light attacks. With Drive Rush, you can combo into her standing heavy kick, letting her have more damaging combo routes. A.K.I.'s Venomous Fang seems to have gone from upper body projectile invulnerable to full body projectile invulnerable. Standing Heavy Punch and Medium Serpent Lash may also be faster. Blanka got a nice quality of life buff. Currently, most Blankas would chain 2 jabs and normally you would get a combo into a medium Blanka ball, but at max range the medium Blanka ball won't hit fast enough and they can block instead. This change makes it so the medium Blanka ball will always hit. As for nerf, his overhead on Drive Rush is no longer +2 on block, giving him that guaranteed strike throw mix, but now +1 on block, leaving him vulnerable to attacks as he goes for a grab. Cammy's level 2 super command is no longer activated with kicks, but with punches. This is personally an amazing quality of life change, because oftentimes I would buffer a dive kick and get a level 2 super, leading me to bad times. However, this does overlap with Spin Knuckle now, so you can potentially get a level 2 when you're trying to buffer a Spin Knuckle to punish a fireball. Speaking of Spin Knuckle, Cammy takes a hit as her OD Spin Knuckle is no longer projectile invincible from frame 3, but much later. This makes it much harder for her to deal with fast projectiles up close. She also lost her target combo into Heavy Hooligan Dive Kick Side Switch combo. She will not have to use other routes to swap to the other side. For Chun Li, one of the strengths of her level 2 super is that the follow combo could build a decent amount of gauge. They seem to have nerfed just how much she can build though. Her back and forward medium punch now have a smaller cancel window. Currently she can use this as a very strong hit confirm, but now you have to buffer OS. Heavy Kokoken now has slower recovery. To put this into perspective, Sonic Boom's are 40 frames before they can recover, and Chun Li's is 43 frames, effectively giving her a slightly worse Sonic Boom, which I had no idea why she has this in the first place. DJ's jackknife distance has been reduced, making it easier to punish. Some characters had trouble punishing DJ using it as an escape option in the corner. OD Just Cool into the heavy kick follow-up now adds more scaling. He will now have to touch you twice instead of once to kill you. Keeping in uniform with the other level 2s, the meter gain during level 2 combos have been reduced. Guile's Sobot kick had its range decreased, so hopefully this doesn't mess up the boom loop routes. Speaking of which, the gauge recovery on boom loop seems to have been decreased as well. This makes sense since building the whole bar was a bit much. Okay, so Honda got done dirty, but also I'm really bad at the Honda matchup, so I'm cool with it. Let's start with the good news. Sending medium punch is now an advancing mid. With it being plus on block, this is a great way to maintain pressure when you don't have charge. Against burnout opponents, I can see him using burnout block string routes similar to Aki or Manon. But Slim now has more distance on block, meaning he can't use crouching light punch to maintain pressure anymore. This also puts him out of reach for a command grab. This isn't a big nerf since the current counterplay was to walk backwards after a butt slam to get out of range of his command grab, and crouching light punch is a mid, so that doesn't punish back walking. Headbutt now doesn't pass under your jumping opponents. This can be a huge nerf, meaning he can't use it as a long range anti-air since you can land right on top of him for a full punish. Ken also received some nerfs. Ken's medium to heavy punch target combo can no longer be delayed. Wait, that's it? For my Kimberly enjoyers, I'm just gonna rip off the band-aid for you. OD Tatsu full invulnerability is not going to come back, so just get that out of your brain now and you'll be happier for it. She did, however, get a bunch of quality of life changes. Heavy Vagabond can now combo into OD Air Grab. This gives her much better mid-screen combo routes that will cost 2 bars instead of 5 bars to pull off. Level 1 now gives you the ability to choose whether to use a spray can or to hold them. The spray cans are so important to Kimberly's set play that using a level 1 could be detrimental, but necessary if you need to get the opponent off of you, and in the process you gimped your comeback potential. A sequence like this will be cut short since you would have to stop and reload your bombs. The craziest buff though is that her OD Tatsu from the ground can cancel into her level 2. Finally, her level 2 has a purpose because that deals a big chunk of damage for anti-air. Jumping Heavy Punch is no longer the best dive kick in the game since the hurt box has been expanded. The Jumping Heavy Punch was degenerate because he would put fireball characters in check if they didn't have an anti-air invulnerable move ready. A really silly situation was if the characters like Guile would throw a boom, Luke could just react to the boom and jump in and force a trade or even win. His drive rush back heavy kick on punish counter no longer combos into itself, meaning it has either less hit advantage or it pushes him further back on hit. I'm not sure what to make of this. Maybe the Luke main can enlighten me on what the greater implications are of this. JP already got his nerfs in the last patch, but I think he's got one more in him. His level 2 isn't as plus anymore when you cancel into it, making it impossible to combo from lights into mediums after you cancel into your level 2. Rashid got the most obvious nerf. No longer builds bar while level 2 is out. It was kinda ridiculous since a Rashid with 3 bars could use a level 2, then build up enough bar during the tornado to lay down another level 2 as soon as it was over, assuming you survived the first one. Ryu is finally becoming a real character this season. His Denjin buff can be stored now since it doesn't have to be used whenever he throws a fireball or Hashigeki. The Denjin version only comes out during the heavy strength version of these moves. This means he can use the majority of his toolkit such as fireballs in neutral and still pack a punch with his Denjin Hashigeki when he lands a hit. For a socialist, Zangief sure didn't receive much. His forward heavy punch is now plus 7 on hit. This opens up more stable combo routes like linking Hell Stab after the headbutt. Alright, so that does it for the first round of balance adjustments. If there's more, I'll be sure to do a follow-up video. I'll be coming out with a separate Akuma video as well. Hit me with that like, share, and sub combo to help support content like this. Put anything I missed in the comments because I already know you're going to. And I don't know what to tell you, but thanks for watching.